which is quite easy to play games in multiplayer nowadays. You just launch the game, you click play online or go to the multiplayer section, and then quickly find a game station with people from all over the world. Some games allow you to choose a competitive mode or a casual mode with the option to select other game modes, as is the case in Counter-Strike 2 or Team Fortress, for example. So, the game matches you with players of similar skill levels or gamers who live closer to each other to ensure the best ping to the server. It's a pretty flexible process as we take it for granted. Overall, playing online with other people is a fairly simple process, and few people realize how much easier it is to play. Before Steam was up, before Xbox Live connected millions, before cloud saves and cross-play stuff, this process wasn't always perfect. Games could require specific IP address for the server, getting you to coordinate with friends to join the same server. Also, the direct connection was very difficult, which forced players to search for host IP addresses on the internet and praying a local server didn't drop. Players wanted a more simple process for finding servers and connecting. This is how a revolution in the gaming industry began. That's how GameSpy was born.
Welcome to GameSpy.
And the story takes on in 1996. ID Software released a game that became a breakthrough in the shooter genre, Quake 1. It was the first game to use the Quake engine, which was the first engine capable of rendering 3D graphics in real time, another revolutionary development for 1990s. Sometime later, the engine became available for free use, and this marked a golden age for distributing and modifying the engine, and also got a huge number of mods by players, which became very popular for its time. The internet was still developing at the time, and there was no universal forum for downloading mods, or at least just Quake-related ones. It didn't take much long for a website called Planet Quake to emerge. In terms of media, there were several websites named Planet dedicated for gamers. Besides Planet Quake, there were also Planet sites dedicated to Half-Life, Call of Duty, Unreal, Doom, 3D Action and others. You might also remember FirePlanet, a file-sharing service for downloading patches, demos and mods. The Planet Quake community grew quite quickly. It was the site that published various Quake-related news and offered various modifications for download. More important that this site brought the community together to play. Since browser servers didn't exist for Quake 1, people gathered together to share IP addresses and join servers. This was just a small step toward creating something great. GameSpy history began as QSpy, a service created by Joe Powell, Tim Cook and Jack Matthews. This soft helped to allow players to view a list of Quake servers and join. Mark Surface, founder of the website Planet Quake, licensed QSpy and renamed it QuakeSpy. Similar attempts have already been made and used for other games, such as Dwango and Empire. Dwango, or Doom Wide Area Network game organization, used tunneling LAN games over the internet, mostly used for the games like Doom, Duke Nukem and Terminal Velocity. However, playing on a single server cost around $2 per hour, according to some sources. Some services were completely unusable due to some technical issues. But let's get back to QuakeSpy. The following year, when the Hexen 2 was released, which was actually the game based on Quake engine, QuakeSpy could search and find servers for that game as well as Quake 1, so the new service was named GameSpy 3D or GameSpy as we know it. Seeing that this worked well, GameSpy was licensed to other game devs, resulting in the birth of GameSpy Industries, which pioneered the use of multiplayer in a big way. And the show must go on. GameSpy wasn't about to stop there. First off, they created a website of its own name, GameSpy.com, to provide gamers with news about the latest PC games. This made it possible to unite communities from all over the world on a single website like this. Players could then create online discussions and team up to play a game they might not have heard of. In addition, multiplayer support was added for console games, which allowed console players to have a great online experience in these games. GameSpy supported games on PS2, PS3, Xbox and Xbox 360, Nintendo, and even Game Boy Advance platforms. This made multiplayer available to players on Xbox in games like MotoGP, NASCAR Heat, Time Splitters and even Halo. In 2001, GameSpy launched GameSpy Arena, a unified client that expanded beyond server browsing. It featured game purchasing, demo downloads, news feeds, and client management. Years before Steam would refine the platform model, Arena was experimenting with what a centralized gaming hub could be, and well, it was not perfect because of download speeds and other issues, but it was a centralized and unique site where the gamers from all over the world gathered in one place. Some gamers may also recall the GameSpy debriefings, an early podcast where GameSpy and the IGN editors gathered to discuss the latest media news and stories. Last but not least, it's worth to mention Voice over IP client. It's called Roger Wilco software, and it was one of the first VoIP programs designed to use for online games. The first version of Roger Wilco was created by Resounding Technology. In December 2000, GameSpy purchased its source code to improve the GameSpy program. GameSpy has been able to implement VoIP for gamers and integrate voice chat features into GameSpy Arcade and game developer software. This program has been licensed to almost all major game publishers like Activision, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Ubisoft and others. It was definitely a success. It could be said that GameSpy was a sign of the gaming industry giant. Publishers came it in handy. Electronic Arts managed to use GameSpy into Battlefield games, The Sims Online and Medal of Honor. LucasArts used it for Star Wars games and Battlefront as well. If you had multiplayer, it likely pinged the GameSpy. Putting it all together, it's worth to admit that the early 2000s were the golden age for GameSpy. Broadhand was spreading and LAN parties went mainstream, and GameSpy wasn't just a utility anymore, it was like an ecosystem, if you will. In 2004, GameSpy Industries merged with IGN, becoming one of the largest online gaming media companies, known as IGN/GameSpy. They later dropped the GameSpy part of their name and became IGN Entertainment, but the GameSpy website continued to operate as before. Well, the integration never truly clicked. It's hard to explain what caused GameSpy's decline. I would say it was a combination of minor issues. On the IGN side, we're dealing with products that benefit only IGN, such as direct-to-drive for example. GameSpy service wasn't updated technically or visually. Furthermore, Steam had already launched in 2003, quickly becoming a competitor to GameSpy. Battle.net, as another competitor, was also developing and used for World of Warcraft, Diablo and StarCraft. They used GameSpy's work to recreate their own master servers without resorting to the GameSpy service itself. For many years, GameSpy existed rather quietly. It received some SDK updates, but it's fair to say that after the IGN deal, all of its energy and effort went into IGN's broader web properties. GameSpy Arena was rebranded and redesigned to Arena, and after this redesign, the site remained abandoned. Since then, it seemed IGN might benefit more from selling and shutting down part of GameSpy. In 2012, Glue Mobile, a developer and publisher of mobile and freemium games, acquired GameSpy technology. This deal finally separated the company's tech and media business. Apparently, Glue Mobile raised prices for developers integrating GameSpy tech and shut down service for many other online games. This caused outrage among gamers, but Glue Mobile and GameSpy technology explained that the developers were notified of this change and had not paid for the services provided, so they had to shut them down. And so here we are on May 31st, 2014. Glue Mobile shut down all GameSpy servers, removing the ability for many games to operate online. Over 1,200 games lost multiplayer instantly. That means that if you try to play any games that support a GameSpy, you would get a connection error. Simple to say, you wouldn't be able to play that game again, ever. Following Ziv Davis' acquisition of IGN, all sites considered secondary to IGN were shuttered, including GameSpy. The company, which had been a pioneer of innovation in the 1990s, became a media empire in the 2000s, only to collapse and be sold off piecemeal in the 2010s. While some gamers were frustrated and blamed developers and GameSpy for abandoning online communities for many older games, others managed to find new solutions to play with. Some services, including free networks, offer list of available game servers. Nintendo Wii gamers could use Wii Free to continue playing their games online, whereas a Game Ranger was also considered a successor to GameSpy. The GameSpy debriefings, as I mentioned as GameSpy early podcast, later evolved into the Comedy Button podcast, which launched in 2011 and still continues to this day with periods of the year and with over 500 episodes. And this is the thing of the past that still remains to this day. As one of the pioneers of online gaming, we have much to thank GameSpy for. GameSpy Arcade was like the precursor to the hubs, game stores and platforms as we know and use today. In the case of Steam, many of the features used by GameSpy, such as server search, friend lists, VoIP, patch management and even community discussions, were available through GameSpy before it got shut down. It is impossible to overstate the contribution that GameSpy has made to the gaming industry. And who knows, maybe without services like GameSpy that have enabled new features and innovations, we might still be manually entering IP addresses to play games with our friends. That is just a bare minimum I could say about GameSpy. Share your thoughts in the comments, I would love to read them. Thanks for watching this video to the end and I hope you found it very memorable. Thanks for visiting my video and taking a step forward to the past.